Yeah, we did a quick voice check.
You want
Everyone
another voice check?
wouldn't hurt. Just let me.
Hello, hello. Hello, hello.
Hello. Let me make sure I'll do and make sure I've got my volume set. Set. Yeah, we did a quick voice check. Everyone
You want another voice check?
wouldn't hurt. Just let me.
Hello, hello.
Okay.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Let me make sure I'll do and make sure I've got my volume set. Set. Okay, so yeah, we did a quick voice check. Can each of you say something again just to check?
This is Lear. Can you
Sound-
hear me now?
Hello, hello.
Sounds good.
Good.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
And this is Rhiannon.
All right, you sound good.
Hey there, it's Shinya.
Hey, Cindy. All good. Okay, so yeah, we did a quick voice. Can each of you say something again just to check?
This is Lear. Can you hear me now?
Sounds good.
Good.
And this is Rhiannon.
All right, you sound good.
Hey there, it's Shinya.
Hey, Cindy. All good. Okay, so yeah, we did a quick voice. Can each of you say something again just to check?
This is Lear. Can you hear me now?
Sounds good.
Good.
And this is Rhiannon.
All right, you sound good.
Hey there, it's Shinya.
Hey, Cindy. All good. Okay, so yeah, we did a quick voice. Can each of you say something again just to check?
By the way, Val, this is the Rose from the Dickens Project DJ. When we had the party there, I just love this thing. I've never taken it out of my hands.
Hey there, it's Shinya.
Hey, Cindy. All good. Okay, so yeah, we did a quick voice. Can each of you say something again just to check?
By the way, Val, this is the Rose from the Dickens Project DJ. When we had the party there, I just love this thing. I've never taken it out of my hands.
Hey there, it's Shinya.
Hey, Cindy. All good. Okay, so yeah, we did a quick voice. Can each of you say something again just to check?
By the way, Val, this is the Rose from the Dickens Project DJ. When we had the party there, I just love this thing. I've never taken it out of my hands.
Hey there, it's Shinya.
Hey, Cindy. All good. Okay, so yeah, we did a quick voice. Can each of you say something again just to check?
By the way, Val, this is the Rose from the Dickens Project DJ. When we had the party there, I just love this thing. I've never taken it out of my hands.
Hey there, it's Shinya.
Hey, Cindy. All good. Okay, so yeah, we did a quick voice. Can each of you say something again just to check?
By the way, Val, this is the Rose from the Dickens Project DJ. When we had the party there, I just love this thing. I've never taken it out of my hands.
Hey there, it's Shinya.
Hey, Cindy. All good. Okay, so yeah, we did a quick voice. Can each of you say something again just to check?
By the way, Val, this is the Rose from the Dickens Project DJ. When we had the party there, I just love this thing. I've never taken it out of my hands.
Hey there, it's Shinya.
Hey, Cindy. All good. Okay, so yeah, we did a quick voice. Can each of you say something again just to check?
By the way, Val, this is the Rose from the Dickens Project DJ. When we had the party there, I just just love this thing. I've never taken it out of my hands. By the way, Val, this is the Rose from the Dickens Project DJ. When we had the party there, I just love this thing. I've never taken it out of my hands. By the way, Val, this is the Rose from the Dickens Project DJ. When we had the party there, I just love this thing. I've never taken it out of my hands. By the way, Val, this is the Rose from the Dickens Project DJ. When we had the party there, I just love this thing. I've never taken it out of my hands. By the way, Val, this is the Rose from the Dickens Project DJ. When we had the party there, I just love this thing. I've never taken it out of my hands.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with my HUD. But obviously, I will go ahead and start in a second if I going on with my HUD. Can't. But obviously, I will go ahead and start in a second if I going on with my HUD. Can't. Okay, did Rhiannon have to relog as well?
Nope. I think only you.
Oh, you just now suddenly appeared on my screen. Okay. Wow, I'm sorry about this. I'm just having problem after problem here. So I'm going to have to do this differently than I planned on. Okay, but let's go ahead and get started. Log as well.
Nope. I think only you.
I want to start by just welcoming everyone to our VWEC Metaverse Expert Series. Wow, we're glad to see you and have you join us for today's very interesting presentation and discussion. Do this differently than I planned on. Okay, at the end of the session, everyone is also invited to an extended chat with our speakers at the other end of the deck for an informal conversation Q&A after the presentation. Metaverse Expert Series. Wow, for those of you who are new, our website is at the address in chat. Do this differently than I planned on. At the end of the session, you can find VWEC on many social media channels. Speakers at the other end of the deck at the address you'll see in chat. Q&A after the presentation. We are pleased to offer our expert series presentations in both text and chat. Text for anyone who may not be using voice is shared on our YouTube live stream. And you can get that at the sign or live stream should also live stream should be at that address. You'll see in chat. Speaking of signs, If you're new here, we would like to know how you found out about us. Our survey plan has just a quick survey that is a great help to us. If you would please fill it out. It's over there on the right side of the stage. And feel free to send along any comments that you have. We would like to thank you all for joining us today. Today we have several leaders from Nonprofit Commons who will talk about what makes the community flourish. These leaders have helped to shape some of the most enduring and impactful communities in virtual worlds. With us today are Rhiannon Chotenoir and Joyce Betancourt, designer, technologist, and organizer, focused on the convergence of creativity, community, social good, and the future, founder of Metaverse, focused nonprofit, avacon.org, and vesuviusgroup.com, virtual world /XR Dev Studio, community leader and host of the Nonprofit Commons weekly meeting. Focused on the convergence of creativity. Next to her is Zinnia Zauber and Renee Brock, artist, instructor, superhero, advocate for awesomeness, encouraging and empowering active, inclusive education and community participation in the arts and sciences, co-chair of NPC board, VWEC founder and board of Peninsula College, artist, instructor. And finally, we have Lear Lobo, Cynthia Colon, Professor Emeritus at Colorado Technical University, where she teaches doctoral classes in AI and business intelligence. Co-chair for Parker University, she teaches computer science. She conducts research at Virtual Harmony, serves as the NPC Education Board co-chair, is on the board and Ohana for TCC Hawaii, and is an OSCC speaker wrangler. She was also Dr. Barbara Truman's research mentor, whose research findings she is sharing today. So without any further delay, I will turn it over to Rhiannon to get things started. Co-chair is on the board to you, Rhiannon, and Ohana for TCC.
Thank you. So hello, everybody. For some of you, this is the second time I'm seeing you today. So if you were at the Nonprofit Commons meeting earlier. So we shared a bit about my bio. I have been, if you look at my profile, you can see that, but I've been in Second Life since January 2005. So I am going to share, and I'm going to paste in here too as I go. So I am going to briefly talk about the communities in Second Life and broader organizing of users within the SL, and some of the events that I've and communities I've been part of. So Second Life Community Conference, and with Nonprofit Commons, Open Simulator Conferences, lots. But I'm not going to go too deep because I'm hoping that I'm just the starting point for us to jump from. Briefly talk about Second Life and broader what I just put in chat. To me, at least, community is what makes Second Life and other virtual worlds, but especially is what makes it sticky. So we may come to build or explore or to role play or whatever, but it's that community piece that really makes us stay. It certainly is what has kept me here in Second Life for these 21 plus years, and has become the focus of much of my work in and out of the virtual worlds. So we may come for and sorry, I think actually I was pasting in the wrong place. So thank you, Ellie. I'm going to kind of start with a little bit mentioning Avacon, and Avacon is kind of interconnects with the things that I'm going to bring up today in that regard. So I'm a co-founder of it, and it is a 501c3 org in the U.S. And the elevator pitch version of Avacon's mission revolves solely or greatly around community. And it's this concept of building community in the metaverse, and of course that includes here, and building the metaverse community from there, and then and which then in general builds up the space itself, builds the metaverse. So and there's a much longer version of that you can read on the website, of course, that gets into what that entails. But it really revolves all around these virtual spaces and community. And we've done this we've done this by organizing community events and supporting communities of practice and users in these virtual worlds. And I'm going to bring up a couple things and walk through some of the things that I said. So first thing I wanted to bring up, from 2005 to 2011, and there's a lot of community stuff that obviously comes before this that we can, but there was an event called the Second Life Community Conference, and it was a hybrid event, so it took place yearly between 2005 and 11, as I said, and each year was a different city, and also in Second Life at the same time. So we brought together numerous swaths of the Second Life community, which included education, business, those who might be here for social or role play, interested in fashion or machinima or music or art, creating content, and so much more. And people would come together and both present and go to events similar to like what we all do here in Second Life, but in person, and then also streaming back and forth. So, and they'd share best practices and showcase others' creativity and discuss relevant tech and topics, and of course, as I said, socializing. And I wanted to bring this up because I think this is it's always sort of stuck with me. And this came out of the 2007 Second Life Community Convention, and these were weekend-long events. People would come in on a Friday, presentations would start, and go through all of Saturday with events in the evening, and then go into the next day with presentations and people's goodbyes and such. And at the peak of them, we had 800 people in person, and that was this particular year in 2007 in Chicago. And again, an audience that was virtual that we were streaming with, and in a couple of regions in Second Life, and even some mixed reality presentations. Yes, that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, we kind of hopped around San Francisco, Chicago, Tampa, Boston, Oakland, various, kind of other things, but a lot of big cities through those years. So, but this in the 2007 Second Life Community Convention, there was the education track that year was sponsored by the MacArthur Foundation, along with Global Kids, the New York City nonprofit education-focused nonprofit that I was by then working for, the keynote for the education track was Dr. Connie Yowell, and I encourage you to look into her. And she was the then MacArthur Foundation Educational Director, and of course she kicked things off and gave the keynote that particular year. And this line here, and I gave a link to, if you want to read back to Rick Panganiban, Rick Riel in Second Life's blog post on it, but the quote that stuck with me this whole time was like, Second Life has the killer app, which is community. And that to me has always rung true, right? That no matter, we may think of all the things that have, and certainly there are other things that are important, like collaborative building and the ability to experience things a certain way, but that community aspect, which is something that kind of came up earlier in today's Nonprofit Commons meeting, instead of platforms that, say, feel a little bit more isolationary, like virtual reality is almost a whole. We here are here together, and then kind of congregate, find our people, and then stick around, and that community is what's really the important thing. I'll also add as a little bonus, you can look at it later. It's over 100 pages, so certainly something to like bookmark and look later at. But this is actually that particular education track's conference proceedings, and it gives you a kind of some insight and spotlight into what the space was thinking about and looking at. And it also included, of course, the many nonprofits like Global Kids and others who are also doing other work and educational programs within there. So and it also focused the sort of the theme of the entirety of that track was about community, creating informational learning communities in Second Life. So it's relevant to kind of today too. So certainly lots to look at there and explore that after. So another thing that Avacon has also done, and this kind of takes us a little bit outside of Second Life, but if many of you might be familiar with Open Simulator, it's the open source, it's an open source platform very similar to Second Life in a lot of ways, but with the ability to run your own servers, import content, export content, have a hypergrid that has hypergrid technology built into it, so you can still go between one space and another, but yet and still have marketplaces, still bring your things with you, all that good stuff. So Avacon, after Avacon, similar to in some ways like what we'll hear about at NPC later, there was Second Life community conferences. Avacon kind of came in the last couple of years, picked up those conferences and hosted those last couple. And then from all that work, and myself, I attended everyone and volunteered at least all of them, but the first one. So, and then from all the work that Avacon kind of put into the Second Life community conventions and sort of seeing the need for it, also in bringing community together in other platforms that many of us as users were also exploring, like Open Simulator. We started to we decided let's have an event there, let's bring together community. So that's what the sort of the birth was, along with planning it with the core developers that were creating the technology itself. So we were hoping to, on the Avacon side of things, our goal was really that bridging the gap between the open source developers and the greater user community, and those we have been doing yearly since 2013. So, and in some ways, very, like I said, very similar to goals of the Second Life Community Convention, but included in collaborating with, like I said, with the developer tech group itself that created Open Simulator. So though at the Second Life Community Conventions, the Lindards would come, and I think it was good for them to see what users were doing, and so we probably had some impact there. But this was a much more direct way, similar but more direct, to be able to actually bring both groups of users and developers together and shape and help sort of maybe move that platform forward in that way. So and that's the Avacon playlist. You'll get to see lots of things in there. A good majority of it is the stuff that was streamed at through the various OSCCs. But it allowed us to sort of also kind of come in and bring together those groups to help sort of problem solve things, to help sort of see, again, developers be able to see this is how people are really using this. These are how various communities are. And sorry, my parrot is very excited in the other room. And it continues on. So, and I won't go too much more to that. And what I really kind of wanted to sort of kind of end with about is the nonprofit common stuff. And as I said, we met earlier today. And NPC is a community of nonprofits, educators, librarians, support groups, and others interested in social good and serious use cases of Second Life. For those of you who may not have heard this origin story before, in brief, Susan Tenby, Glitteractica Cookie, then the community manager at the nonprofit TechSoup.org, which many of you might know know if you're a nonprofit and buy your software discounted, and who she is now director of global community there. She is the person who founded it and started the weekly meetings that still continue to this day. And then by 2017, TechSoup was kind of moving away, which is from the virtual environment programs, and we kind of stepped in, Avicon and the community together, to transition to being both fiscally and tech sponsored by Avicon, with a community-led board of nonprofit, made up of nonprofit commons members, of which both Lear and Zinnia here are on the board. So, and I'll just share a little timeline with you guys that you can look at later again, sort of the history. NPC also has this mission that is very community driven. Besides being community led, it provides space to meet and network. It creates cooperative learning environment, and so it fosters outreach, education, fundraising, all in the virtual environment. And that's our mission in a nutshell. And then NPC also is made up of many nonprofit organizations, also, as I brought up too, also beyond that too, as I said, arts orgs, individual supporters of social good causes come to it, educators, librarians, all that good stuff, and from around the world. And then those are the board communities that we have. So in addition to the board itself, we also have these focuses on education and interaction and experience to nurture learning and socialize and support the needs of our virtual world community and beyond. And at those meetings, which they provide workshops, tours, support networking with a vision of future growth. And this is kind of this sort of almost like a short list of some of our, I think, community building, kind of our own sort of special sauce, the things that we have found important to the strength and impact of the nonprofit commons community. And I'm sure, again, Zinnia probably has much more about this, this whole concept of a shared focus and growth, the overarching direction and focus of the people who care about topics like social good and learning. Through our members, though our members are diverse, that common overlap of why we come together matters and unites us. And through that too, we also cultivate a nurturing space that encourages peer learning and allows community members to connect and grow together. We can, any one of us can go out as a scout, bring back a topic, teach it to the others, share what we're working on, and kind of grow from there. We have very much this kind of giving back as part of it too. So we offer up resources, free office space, learning opportunities, useful tools that the members have developed, mentoring for NPC members there if they need help, or we also encourage people to share what they're working on and other things, and other things that others in the community can take advantage of. And the other kind of thing that we've also discovered over time and that we're very good at is the consistency matters. And like I said, these meetings have been happening now for we're our 18th or 19th year that we'll be coming up on for these events. And so these weekly meetings in Second Life since 2006, I'm sure somebody will weigh in. Every week, 25 to 35 people. Sometimes we squish a little more in, on average, that are coming together and including that with regular networking events like Common Ground and exploration tours. And then I'm going to put this in here, even though I've said it already. Zinnia will dive deeper into that. And then I just kind of want to end it to, the call that, of course, if you aren't already, that we hope you can join us all at NPC for our Friday educational meetings and tours. The information is there in chat. And also, we like this whole peer learning part of thing that's very important. We'd love for you to come and present and share or tours on something. So, and the link for that is in there. And then these are some other ways to kind of connect to us. But of course, if you at the core of all of this, and even I think at the core of my individual experience has always been community. So afterwards during discussion, if you guys want to dive deeper into any of this or anything, just we'll have a lot more time for any of those kind of things. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Zinnia, and thank you. Tours on something. So, and the link for that is in there. And then these are some other ways to kind of connect to us.
Thank you, Ree.
But
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining
at the core
us.
of all of this, and even I think at the core of my individual
So I
experience
thought I would
has
focus
always
on
been community.
recommendations
So
because
after
I can do my
discussion, if you
favorite
guys
thing,
want to dive deeper into
point
this
and tell
or
people what to
anything,
do.
just we'll have a lot more time for any of those kind of things. So with that, I will turn it over to you, Zinnia.
In my experience, communities are built through immersive activities, cohesion,
And then these are some other ways to
and
kind of
color.
connect to us.
Thank you, Ree. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Initiated
Initiated in
I think at the core of my
26,
I thought
I
I would
produce
focus
our
on
local art
recommendations
walk.
because I can do my favorite thing.
And to create
Point
inclusion
and
between
tell
the
people what to
venues, the
do.
artists, and the audience, everyone is encouraged to participate in the Art Walk's monthly color theme. It's a fun community activity to be expressed in any creative form they wish.
And color. Thank you, Ree. Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
So January is silver, February is red, March is green, April is pink, May is aqua, June is white, July is purple, August is yellow, September is blue, October is orange, November is brown, and December is gold. Even local businesses decorate their windows with the upcoming color theme. Sound familiar?
So January is silver, February is red.
In August of 28, the first Common Ground networking party was hosted by Ethered and myself, Zinnia, at the nonprofit Commons Flush.
November is brown.
We had a wonderful team. We've had a wonderful team at the nonprofit Commons that have helped produce a party every month for years.
Sound familiar?
Throwing an inclusive community party is a learning by doing and dancing.
The first Common Ground networking party was hosted
So for
by
nearly
Ethered
18
and
years,
myself,
the color theme Common
at the
Ground
nonprofit
networking party in
Commons
Second Life has
Flush.
brought people together while
We had a
fostering
wonderful
learning
team.
opportunities
We've had a
in how
wonderful
to
team at the
design and
nonprofit
produce
Commons
immersive
that
engagement.
has helped
Have you
produce
attended?
a party every month for years. Sound familiar?
Throwing an inclusive community party is a learning by doing and dancing. Go up to teach innovative skills and celebrate what we accomplish cooperatively with nonprofits, educators, students, humanitarians, scientists, artists, and supporters. It provides lasting lessons and meaningful connections.
Have you attended a party every month for years? Sound familiar?
Social networking communicates social causes and initiates action for positive social change.
Innovative skills.
And as an action-packed superhero, we got to do it that way.
With nonprofits, educators,
Imaginative events and social networking validate Second Life's power to connect people, create cooperative support, and encourage participation, promotion, and positive results.
Social causes and initiates action for positive social change.
So how do we do that effectively?
And as an action-packed superhero, we got to do it that way.
We dance.
Imaginative events and social networking.
To dance is to develop active networking community events. And what you'll see on my slides is a combination of people attending the First Friday Art Walk in Sequim and the theme colors that happen there, as well as the theme colors that happen here in Second Life. People enter Second Life to experience immersive environments with a sense of community, cooperation, connections, cohesiveness, and collaboration.
My slides is a combination.
Events are an effective way to connect with new audiences, promote diverse organizations' missions, and encourage participation and support,
as well as the theme colors that happen here in Second Life.
including hearing, to listening, to sharing, to doing, and more dancing.
Immersive environment with a sense of community, cooperation.
Encouragement creates a cooperative community of responsibility, collaboration, and enthusiasm.
Events are
You know my
effective way to
motto,
connect with new
enthusiasm
from
over
diverse
perfection.
organizations and missions, and encourage participation and support.
Sorry, my phone went off there.
Including
By getting to know
hearing,
the people
to
who
listening, to
create
sharing,
the
to
common good
doing,
in our
and
world,
more dancing.
we all meet on common ground.
Sense of community, cooperation.
I'm
Encouragement
trying
creates
to
a
remember to change
cooperative
my slides for
community
you.
of responsibility, collaboration, and enthusiasm.
When we get started having
You know my
different
motto,
communities, we had different communities
enthusiasm
host
over
each
perfection,
month.
missions, and encourage
And
participation and support. Sorry, my phone went
let's
off
look
there.
at how an event-based
Including
education and
by getting to know
inclusion
the people
can
who
be
create
persuasive
the
to
common
students
good in
and
our world.
volunteers
We all
to
meet on
learn
common
together by
ground.
producing a challenging project. How many of you have had an opportunity to host or attend a common ground networking party?
We had different communities host each month.
Excellent, Rosie. Thank you. Skyla.
Let's look
Wonderful.
at how
Yeah.
an event-based
Okay.
education and inclusion can be
Excellent.
persuasive to
Oh,
students
wonderful.
and volunteers
Fantastic.
to learn
And
together
did you
by
all
producing
decorate
a
with
challenging
balloons?
project. How many of you have
So
had
you
an
got some
opportunity
building
to
skills in,
host
right?
or attend
Did
a
you help
common
market the
ground
event?
networking party? We had different
So you
communities
got some
host
marketing and branding
each
skills
month.
built up there? Ah, yes, and dressing in the color. You became part of the event as well.
Okay.
Excellent.
To
At the Art
students and
Walk, I always
volunteers.
express the people wandering
And
around
did
in
you
the
all
colors
decorate with
as part of
balloons?
my artwork.
So you
So
got
thank
some
you guys
building
for
skills
actively
in,
participating,
right?
and I bet you learned new skills
Did
along
you
the
help
way.
market the event?
Oh, stranger wins, hands
So you
down,
got some marketing and branding
for the
skills
best
built up
outfits.
there. Yes, and dressing in the color. You became
And
part
yes,
of the event
so
as well.
absolutely.
Okay.
You gotta have the right color for your
At
birthday.
the Art Walk, I always express
Perfect.
people wandering around in the colors as part of my artwork.
So Common Ground
thank you guys for
has
actively
also included
participating,
progressive
and I bet you
parties
learned
that
new
have jumped
skills
from
along the
community
way.
partner to community partner
Oh, stranger
just in a
wins,
few
hands
hours.
down.
Whoa, that was pretty crazy. And we all learned how to make HUDs in that
Yes, and
process
dressing in the
too.
color. You became
And
part
yes,
of
a lot of work,
the
a
event.
lot of fun.
Absolutely.
So
You gotta have the
inclusive
right color for your
agency
birthday.
provides control over one's learning and allows everyone to be part of a greater whole while defining their differences.
Has also included
So
progressive
choosing,
parties
the
that
right
have
color
jumped
and the
from
right
community
month for
partner to
your
community partner just in a
organization
few hours.
has been
Whoa,
important.
that was pretty crazy. And we all learned how to
Community
make HUDs in that
partnerships help
process
create
too.
cohesive and unity,
A lot of work,
right?
a lot of
We
fun.
like that cohesion, that sticky part,
So
as Lisa
inclusive
highlighted.
agency provides control over one's
Demonstrating that
learning
you
and
can play
allows
well with
everyone to
others
be part of a
builds
greater
a
whole
powerful
while defining
force
their
of
differences.
attraction.
Has also included so choosing the right color and the right month for your
This brings more interested folks who will benefit from your work and will assist you along the way.
and unity, right?
I love to build learning system and event themes. Do you like the flash mob dancers here?
Builds a powerful
They
force
practiced
of
all year
attraction.
so that they could do this and specifically chose August, which was
This
yellow.
brings more interested folks who will
We
benefit
do
from your work
that similar
and
thing, right?
will
When we're
assist you
dancing
along the way.
together
And unity.
at our parties.
I love to build
We feel
learning
connected
system and event themes.
and we're in unison.
Do you like
Yet
the
we all are
flash
unique
mob
along the
dancers
way.
here? Builds a powerful force. They practice
So
all
let's talk
year
about
so
some
that
of
they
these
could do
learning
this and
systems that we
specifically
engage with.
chose August.
So research. So you get to use your brain when you have a required theme and style guide to limit chaos. You provide focus to investigate the meaning and the mission of a group. So how many of you guys have scratched your head wondering about some of the themes I've come up for parties? Well, quite often, especially if it's one of our anniversary parties for the Nonprofit Commons, the number actually helps dictate the theme.
When you have a required theme and style guide to limit
There is a
chaos,
reason that they use that color or a symbol. So find out why and ask questions. This is a great way for you to be able to talk to strangers and inquire.
come up for parties.
Oh, yay, Tori, you're an expert at it.
Quite often.
So making connections between the icons and settings weddings all comes together, like our favorite DJ, Tori, who customizes our playlists and treats. There's a reason that they use that color or symbol, so find out why. Collaborative learning. So working with others expands our students and volunteers and community members' perspectives, right? Oh, yay, Tori, you're an expert at it. So making connections between the icons and passion comes from exposing care and passion. When we are vulnerable and share our truths, it welcomes understanding, deeper learning, and empathy. That's what's so beautiful about doing events with our community partners. We learn more about what they are fighting for and supporting. Oh, yay, Tori, you're an expert at it. So making connections between the icons and passion comes from exposing care and activity. Build and curate. All virtual skills are embraced by event-based learning opportunities with a firm deadline. Oh boy, gotta have a deadline. We learn more about challenging yourself to produce something awe-inspiring is the reward. And we learn from doing and dancing. We also learn what others love to do and thrive in by building stronger teams, by defining their superpowers for future awesomeness. With a firm deadline. Publicize. So we learn how to write and deliver press releases, social media posts, and promotions by doing in-world events or out. How many of you guys have gotten better at your writing skills to persuade people to join us in world? And thrive in by building stronger teams, by defining their superpowers for future. Yes, gotta have those deadlines. And our consistency has helped with that, don't you think? So we learn how to write and deliver press releases, social media posts, and promotions. So enticing an audience means letting them know what they will gain by attending. How many of you guys have gotten better at your writing skills to persuade Another point is achieving equity. So to advocate for community events that connect and celebrate expression and diversity. And we have a lot of that. Has helped with that, don't you think? Your heart is showing when you provide opportunities to celebrate inclusion and knowledge. So you can see on my picture here, we've got lots of love, and we love throwing down our group hug. Thank you, Buffy, for always throwing that down at the end of events so we can try to break our record of how many avatars can have a group hug. So I put in purple themed dressed people. That's this month in celebration of your birthday, and in our area in Squim, our Squim Lavender weekend. And you can see how much people love to be able to dress up and enjoy our themes. So we always express how working together in a virtual world places us on a level playing field to learn and seek new understanding of others. Reflection is required for improvement and enhancement. So we follow up with an opportunity to talk it out or hug it out. And we want to do that while it's fresh and get feedback from all sides. We grow and keep growing when we reflect and affect the next event. This is part of design learning, that cycle of iterative improvement. Dimensional experiences activate more places in our brain and bloom better plans for the future. One of my favorite things to do in Second Life is building exhibitions with information, art, and engagement for all. How many of you guys have been building exhibits? That could be for conferences, that could be for the Second Life birthday. Yeah. And don't you love how cohesive and engaging they are? That was one of my first volunteer experiences at the Nonprofit Commons, was building their exhibit at a Second Life birthday celebration. You might still have one of my space helmets. Delightful sharing experience provides meaningful engagement, memories that persist, and friendships that last. Providing opportunities for people to truly feel like they are the architects of their community, we need to give them activities and means to contribute. Just showing up in the color theme or a fun topic is a start. So thank you guys for dressing up in the color themes. And they will build up communities when they are actively able to shine. The future of virtual worlds will connect people like no other medium through networking and cooperative support, generating common good with common goals and meeting on common ground. Let's do community building through event-based education and inclusion together. Thank you very much. Now it is Lear's turn to share her wonderful research.
Thank you, Zinnia. And I have something to share with everyone. Let's see. You know me, I'm a visual kinesthetic, right? And I have to be able to see it, say it, etc. Let's see, I just clicked something and of course it all disappeared. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to share a note card first. And I'm just going to share it with everyone. So if you don't want it, it's what I'm going to be talking about. You can ignore it. Yeah, let's see. Here we go. And thank you for inviting me to share today. It sure is delightful. Here, I'll go ahead and forward my slides. These are amazing slides, by the way, Zinnia. I love all the photos and the memories. So, you know, when I was invited to speak, and you can see the note card, I will paste it in, but you know how it is. I don't read. um, all I could think of was Barbara's research on being vested in community and what community mattered, why it matters, what it means, right? I was her research mentor, and many of you know that I met her at Game Tech when we won the $25,000 for the Mars expedition. And she left her doctoral program after taking all of her classes. And by the way, here's the link to these slides. And she came and joined us, and she fell in love with Second Life and virtual worlds and education within them. And so much so, and Buffy, you may remember the New Media Consortium, which brought us in here in 2005 and 2006 from different conference events. He introduced me to her just as soon as we won that award. That's what was so amazing for me. And so she had a dream about transdisciplinarity, and her dream was to define these two terms that you see on screen: virtual physioception and virtual intersubjective presencing. Now, she didn't start there. My research group provided those terms for her, and one of them we created. I can't remember which one, you know. The other one was relatively new. And so, of course, she was passionate about what the magic that happens when you bring people together in a community and what they accomplish. Now, please feel welcome to type in the local text chat and tell me what you're thinking as we go through this. We only have 3 slides. So, virtual physioception, I typed these out while we were sitting here because I know some of you are visual kinesthetics too, and you like to see it and say it and hear it, right? so, so during her quest, you know, Andy provided the terminology, Andy Stricker from my research group at Virtual Harmony. And, you know, I want to thank once again the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium for inviting us to speak here today on this, because I'm really passionate about this subject. Why do we teach in these worlds? Well, if you think about your body, that's the left side. The virtual physioception, how you represent yourself, your avatar, your gestures, your colors, your how you sit, your animations, etc. This notion of embodiment, self-actualization. Now we remember that from Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we're going to see that in just a moment. And then, of course, the notion of empowerment. Being in these communities empowers us. That's what it's all about. It's not just about we show up, although that's wonderful, but when we show up, how does it transform us? We noticed that in Tom's video, our avatar ourselves, the fact that people are empowered regardless of any of their abilities to do amazing things. And this openness and reflective shiftability, this ability to move between groups and to take the good parts with us and cross-pollinate them is just amazing. Meanwhile, we have virtual intersubjective presencing. And of course, I'm forgetting to copy and paste it in, right? Yep. And that is all about how you interact in the world, how you share, things you touch, things you create, how it transforms others through the classes you offer, how you help others to be empowered and also continue that through inclusive, through shared vision, through co-creating, through adaptability, to initiate dialogue. And I don't just mean talking, I mean generative listening and open heart conversations that really matter. And then this cultivating a culture that will transcend us, that will live beyond our moments here. Many of us have been here 20 years or more. I know I have, and I'd like to think that after I'm gone, these worlds will persist, the magic from them will persist. So we have these shared themes. We have a commitment to community. We have the acceptance and respect of each other. We have an aspiration. We have a dream. There's a reason we're here to promote education in virtual worlds. And we have trust that's strengths based. Now, strengths based for us is the values and action um, survey. I don't know if you've ever taken it, but if you haven't, it's a wonderful survey. And of course, Lysenna has direct feedback. She's worked with one or more of the researchers who created it. And what's amazing about it is it reminds you of why you matter, what you accomplish, and how you work well with others. And in our group, we all took it, and then we did a team-based version that we created where we rated each other. And we watched the pillars rise among our bodies as we would click on it, and we would get this tremendous feeling of growth and shared commitment. And we'd give strength to each other as well as to ourselves. Now, what shocked me about that instrument is my number one strength was teamwork. And I would not have said that because during my doctoral program, I ran over my teams. We must get an A. So I would do an amazing amount of work, right? I designed expert systems and, my version of artificial intelligence products, to accomplish great things. I listened to my teams, but I had no patience for failure. And of course, I had to learn that it's okay to discover, over time. Well, we're almost at the end of my part in case you're planning your weekend activities. And, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is on the left, and we're familiar with that. There's some little summaries there, but I promised to talk about self-actualization because Barbara's model is on the right. And you were the source, many of you were the source of some of this data. I'm not going to disclose the participants by any means, but she contacted groups throughout Second Life, throughout World of Warcraft, throughout all kinds of military groups that were also in virtual worlds and many different groups. She had wonderful participation. And her instrument, I tested it. It took me 2 hours to answer it. That is how in-depth it was. And of course, um, she was aiming for transdisciplinarity, which is the intersection of all topics. It goes beyond interdisciplinary, which is our US version of it, because it thinks about the richness of what might we accomplish when we bring people together in these spaces. And of course, her goal extended beyond a cure for cancer. And of course, many of you know that we lost her in 2021. But she was powerful and deeply rooted in transformed social interaction. The social presence that we have today, the self presence, and I don't remember what I've copied and pasted, so I'll do it again, right? Whoops. Here we go. And So as we think about self-actualization, what does that mean to us? I'd like you to tell me, because the best shared moments really come from you. They don't just come from us, do they? And so today, as we think about community and start to wrap up this amazing fair, what does community and self-actualization mean to you? And I'll paste the slides again for anyone who missed them. And I want to thank everyone for celebrating community with us. Thanks.
Wow, thank you, everybody. This was an amazing presentation. It was really good to hear from all of you, and just kind of brings together the idea of what community really is. I think I still am thinking about what Rhiannon said at the beginning, that quote she said from somebody, that the SL's killer app is community. That's really what makes it so special. So hopefully that will be something we can all continue to strive for. Okay, I guess I can open it up. Well, we are getting close to the end. We've got about 10 minutes before we really absolutely have to close it up. So if anybody has anything they want to ask right now before we move to the back, I'll give you a chance to do that. If not, we will go ahead and head back. So I'll do my closing.
I would be curious about people's reaction to what I wrote in the chat.
You know, Marley, I was trying to watch the chat, but I might have missed it. Why don't you repeat it for us?
I'm going to say it aloud. Doing stuff together is great, and I've done a lot of that. But I believe that to really strengthen community, it is important to spend one-on-one time with your collaborators or community mates. Loving an abstract community is not a great end game, in my humble opinion. Knowing the possibilities for different people to collaborate, to actually become friends by knowing more than just the information about the projects at hand, that leads to many more possibilities for strengthening community and for networking. I like bringing people together for these possibilities. And another benefit is raising self-reflection as we get to know each other.
I think certainly over time, right? Like some of that, when you look at something like Nonprofit Commons, that person-to-person connection has deepened and over time for many of us, right? Like somebody walking in as a new person to the group may, as you said, like it may take a bit before they feel that, but there's a lot more individual both interactions and collaborations that kind of grow from that, you know. I think about, you know, I think of even just like, say, the folks like Zinnia and Lear on here with me, right? Like with Lear, like to bring up Lear as an example, like the collaborations that just through the interaction, like interactions that might have started within a group, like Lear and I initially knew each other through a more social light role play themed community called Elf Circle, right? This love of like fantasy and that sort of things that really we came across each other through initially. And we, to your point, we were part of this larger things. It was fun, all that other stuff. But over time, those interactions, like now, you know, I think about how the stuff that happens behind the scenes, what we do for NPC and how we're collaborating together all the time. There's a discussion between her and I that are open up at the back that none of you ever see, right? That like weighs in on all these things and other things in life through that conversation. The same thing with when we're organizing as chair leads for OSCC. and many of that happens like, when we kind of engage deeper in our communities. And I think that the challenge means for a community, at least, if you are part of it, that there is this, that there should be encouraged that anybody can be involved, right? We try to do that at MPC a lot, that like there are no gatekeepers here, and we've done events too where we've broken people up into pairs or other things where they can get a chance to kind of also speak up. Maybe that could happen, of course, a whole lot more, or regularly enough for new people when they come in to get that experience, make sure they get that too. But it does come in over time, and many of us, I would say the Second Life community conventions, taking that as an example, those were in person, right? And I'm sure you've seen this too, Marley. The most amazing thing to ever see, and many of you have been to conferences together, like Leah brought up things. Zinnia and I did not meet for the first time until she went to a Second Life community convention in San Francisco, but we already knew each other. Like what was left was to kind of be able to actually be in presence and hug each other and experience something in person, in a physical way, right? And that thing is amazing. I mean, and that story was told, that sort of process and story was told to me over and over again when we would have those in-person events, that they had already knew the person, but then they get to actually meet them. It was like meeting a long lost friend in that way, or reconnecting with somebody you knew. So over time, it definitely happens. I guess the rub is how quickly can we bring somebody in enough and make somebody comfortable to orient them to get to be in that space where they see that they can collaborate.
Thank you. And that goes right into what Buffy had asked. So here's her question. What is the biggest challenge to keeping a community vital and thriving here? I think this is a fantastic, yes, Marley, we both got to visit you guys at the same time. And, I think just what you mentioned, Ree, that idea of like, when someone comes in, how do we hook them quickly? Most of us probably have been hooked by Buffy, who is the best mentor out there, right? And to automatically feel like you're part of the community. Yeah, and talk about relationships. Buffy is going to be my bestie at my wedding, and we had only just met in person last year, was it? So we're such good friends here that it is meaningful to me that she will be there for me. And yes, got to wear the wings. Got to wear the wings. I keep telling everyone you're wearing the wings. But how do we keep things vital? Is how do we stay curious about the people around us? Like, we need to keep asking questions. We need to find out what they're passionate about them and give them those opportunities to showcase and share what they're interested in. And I think the more opportunities we give people, the more people will feel like they're part of a community anyway. And as far as like, that continual, that challenge, as you're saying, to keep thriving, well, what we've already seen in our communities of communities is that we keep growing and we keep, becoming spheres of influence on each other. There is overlap between so many of our communities that we get so excited that we're like, oh, I can share that here, and then I can share that here, and I can share that there. But then we also learn how we can be adaptable to the communities that we thrive in by adjusting and supporting those around us. And so I think it's a continual, let me show off, but let me share you and have you have a chance to show off. Yes, being adaptable. Absolutely. Yes, Danny, that total idea of being layered. And that's something that I think a lot of people are surprised. When you have a conversation with someone and you explain all the different things that you do in world and out, people are like, "Oh my God! Like, how do you sleep? Do you have friends?" I'm like, "Oh my God! Let me tell you how many friends I have." And that we really do keep growing and growing, and we're so glad that you guys are part of that experience with us.
Any other final thoughts, Lear, on your part, or any other final questions? I will say to that challenge idea, I have heard from, because I've done community organization and event organizing and management stuff. We had a lot of physical events and physical, like in-person only things as well. And when I was when working with TechSoup on say some of their community things, one of their other community organizers that used to organize the around the globe meetups that would happen around nonprofit technology. We had him in to come speak at Nonprofit Commons, and he was amazed. His biggest thing was amazed, not only that we're meeting, but that idea that we were thriving through the years, year in and year out, and that the people, and not only that we were getting a consistent amount of people, right? But that through the ebb and flow that we had folks that had been a long time coming to that community for years, and that's a harder thing to do in physical environments. Things change a lot more, that make it hard for people to do that, or they move, or they, real life world things happen. But that connection point is still important to us. That, for the last 18 years, here we are at 8:30 in the morning Pacific every Friday, I don't know, Francisco, if you, I don't know if there's any final things, or if you want to wrap up and then we get
You
to
know
inform.
what? I said I had my mic off and I was starting to speak. So,
Oh, that's all right.
okay, I'm ready. I just having a lot of tech issues today.
Oh, that's okay. We're very supporting, right? Like, that's always what I say, even when people present, like, someone will help. Like, it's
Yes,
okay.
yes, thank you. Yeah, I just was thanking everybody for attending today. And just as a reminder, you'll be able to find the recording of today's session um, on the VWEC YouTube channel. And I posted a link in there. I'll repeat it up there. If you'd like a copy of today's slides, you can get them on the board on the side of the deck. Look for the sign for this presentation. VWEC is pleased to invite you to go check out the many communities represented at our community fair, part of this year's Summer of Community, which opened on May 30th and will be going on until August 15th. There are a total of 42 communities and 5 vendors represented at the fair, so do make time to walk around and check out as much as you can. I'd also like to mention that VWEC has an exhibit at this year's SL birthday celebration, SL23B, and there's a sign to the left of the stage you can click on to teleport there later. There's a big board along the left side. I can show it to you here in a minute if you want, but it has all the slides from different presentations. You can click them to get, not just this one, but past ones as well. It's on the left side of the stage, the seating. One other thing, I'd like to pass out a note card to everybody to vote on a proposal to add education and charity search to Second Life search. So I'm gonna select okay, wait a minute. Don't do this very often, so let me just select them and send. Okay. And to continue the community theme, our next expert series will be featuring Delia Lake. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe Delia Lake, I'm sorry. Or Linda Morris Kelly, who will talk about enhancing learning by using avatars and extended immersive experiences to complement learning gained from traditional tests and other media. This will be on July 10th at 1 p.m. SLT. To see all VWEC events, please click on the events calendar listed in chat. And that's our YouTube channel. And join us on social media at the link tree. And there's some other links you might check. I think those are pretty well covered in the link tree, and we are on Discord in the Second Life server. Use the #education. Please know that we always welcome new volunteers to help at VWEC, which is open to anyone interested in teaching and learning in virtual worlds. If you're interested in volunteering, please contact the librarian Greg, Ellie Pinion, or Sumin Magic. Finally, please join us for today's happy hour at the other end of the deck for informal conversation Q&A. And that's why I'll walk over there. Thank you again for everything. Yeah, right over here where Ellie's standing is where you can get the slides.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Fran, I don't see the object for it. Which one is it?
Are you
For
talking
the
about the
object
slides?
for the
Yeah,
slides,
yeah.
Right behind Ellie, like Ellie is right over here.
right
Look
over
for me too.
here.
The bigger of these two
Oh, okay.
poster. Yeah.
I probably missed it. I saw so many signage, I was like, click, click, pain.
Yep.
I was like, oh, pain.
Yeah, the
Thanks.
big.
I wanted all the images.
Yep.
They were so cool.
If only I could eat this cupcake.
Oh, I know. There are days you're like, Second Life food, it looks so good, but it doesn't feed you, sadly.
My students are always asking, why is there food everywhere? Like, did we forget to clean it up or something? And then, like, by the end of the quarter, they're like, we need more food and house plants. More food and house
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
plants.
Often after the nonprofit commons meetings, I'll head over to Darkwood and I have like my happy downtime is I'll like do like a little bit of virtual gardening and placing out of animals. Like like today it's a squirrel. You go forth, squirrel. Like it's a lot like the virtual food, the same kind of concept.
Absolutely. Gotta have them. Thank you guys so much for joining us and being, community members. We keep talking about how we are communities of communities, right? And I loved that idea of talking about how we have a layered life here. That was really wonderful. That's a great question. I.
I mean, you and I have chatted a little bit about that. I mean, it 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 depends on, like, are you trying to extend what you're doing here into there, like such that it's sort of like a hybrid kind of approach, like a mixed approach, or or are you just talking about like you want to just start organizing people in person around, a topic or or you know, a community, or I mean, you are already bringing people together in your area for around the agriculture um, and other topics, I know. So I don't know if I can hear us.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Yes, you sound good, both of you.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm
Uh,
about to whip out a thriller. No.
Thriller. Okay.
I think all of those ways. I am still really feel challenged to build a true community in my first life community. I have to ask the question, where does community end? Because when it comes to dealing with city officials and park officials who are supposed to be serving the community, I find that community actually ends at that line sometimes, and I just really want to get. I feel there are ways that we can use Second Life to grow a story that invites people into it in different ways. I also am part of a discussion that happens every month called Creative or not creative, but Courageous Conversations on Race Relations. And I think it would be interesting to, even as an experiment, see how people interact not knowing, not having that visual
Yeah, without any
presence.
bias.
Yeah.
A visual bias, I guess.
Hmm.
Although, you know, many people, I mean, a good, there's still a lot of representation thereof that I guess. Yeah, I mean, I think. I mean, certainly on the on the events and even the educational program side of things, right? That whole idea of bringing people in, and we had a bit of a discussion. We had that open forum today at Nonprofit Commons. There was a bit of that discussion when folks were asking Gentle Heron about how does she bring in all these presenters, right? Like it is a lot of work. It's definitely a lot of legwork to get people in who are not already familiar with Second Life to then have them come in here to do an event. But you can do it. It just takes a lot of hand holding and a lot of organizing. And
Well,
as you know,
and for me, it's not always about necessarily expecting people to come in, but how can we utilize this visual platform still to affect the real world? Like, we've done presentations on the screen in Centennial Plaza,
yeah,
and I just met the gentleman who's over our First Friday events here, and we really connected. I think we see eye to eye, and so we're want to experiment more with those platforms and how we can not only, I mean, we can invite people in, we can even potentially use the mobile app so that they can simultaneously jump up on the screen with us while we're doing an event, maybe. But how do we also really just utilize this platform to create a visual that people who may never come in can still relate to?
I've I've done a lot of like mixed reality presentations over the years, or events like in that way, single one-off things, right? Like, so you could start with something like that, you know. It does take a bit of AV in the middle, right? That's the thing, as you said. Like, there is tech definitely in the middle, so that way both sides can see each other, and 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 conversation can be relayed back and forth in some way, right? We even an example of like a couple of examples. Like example when we did with Global Kids, right? We had um, often a lot of events where we would bring a speaker in. Sometimes that person would be in person, right? A big one. We were on the floor of with the of the UN with Kofi and when a Kofi Annan event was happening, and Global Kids and their youth leaders were all there in person. At the same time, we were also in Second Life, Teen Second Life, and even Yville, which I'm not even sure if Yville's still around. Certainly, Teen Second Life is not around. Um, and we had people in each platform, and we the stream was going into each platform, so webinar media here, and there were those people that were in each platform were facilitating questions back out that somebody who was in person was also able to collect those things and and have the folks that were virtual be part of that audience too. So you would get that round trip of both folks that were on the virtual side being able to interact and engage, and the people in person to be able to see it up on the screen and see that there are real people behind those avatars on that screen that are asking them like questions in real time. I mean, well, a little delay, of course, but in near real time, and that they could have that conversation or this dialogue between them. Again, it is a lot of tech stuff in the middle that glues it together and coordination, but it is doable. It is absolutely
Right.
doable.
And that's good stuff. That's exactly the kind of things I'm looking for. So I'm just having conversations with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now as well. And I want to tie all this together. It's time for us to actually realize the vision of the love train, and on both sides of this screen. I think that we can really actually utilize a lot of the talents that people have in here in articulating our vision that we want to realize in reality. You know,
Yeah.
and my challenges here with I just tell you a couple of things. I don't like to be negative, but it's just